Hello, how are you? Some of you might be enjoying the Winter Olympic Games, and after that, Winter Para Olympic Games. By the way, of course, Olympic Games, we usually use that for the events every 4 years for the summer games, as well as 2 years later, then, or I would say earlier, or I should say between summer Olympic Games, we have the Winter Olympic Games too. But have you ever heard this word, Olympiad? In English, yes, we use the words Olympic and Olympiad. Well, Olympics are usually talking about each games held every 4 years in the summer or winter. Then Olympiad, it is talking about the period of the time. Usually that's, well, 4 years. Every 4 years. That is the ancient Greek way of counting. One of the way of the, I would say, calendars, I would say, a long, long time ago. Then, the modern Olympic Games started in 1896, and they decided to use the ancient Greek calendar, Olympiad. So Olympiad is talking about the duration or the time. Every 4 years, it changes. Then Olympic, the word Olympic is used for the games or the event. All right. Of course, most of us are more familiar with Olympic Games, right? Olympic, the word Olympic. But the Olympiad is just like this. For example, started with the modern time, okay? The first Olympiad is from 19, I'm sorry, 1896 to 1899. That means 4 years. 1896, 1897, 1898, and 1899. So that is the first Olympiad for the modern time. And there was the Olympic Games held in Athens in Greece. Then second period is started in 1900 to 1903. Then Olympic Games were held in Paris, France. Then third period started in 1905 or 1904 to 1907. Then the Olympic Games were held in St. Louis in the United States. Then after that, the fourth Olympiad, the period of 4 years, started in 1908 and in 1911. And the Olympic Games were held in Stockholm, in Sweden. Then the sixth Olympiad was between 1916 to and 1919. And Well, unfortunately, we did not have the Olympic Games that time. It was planned in Berlin, in Germany, but it did not happen. Then the seventh Olympiad is between 1920 and 1923. And the Olympic Games were held in Antwerp in Belgium. Then eighth Olympiad, that's between 1924 and 1927. And the Olympic Games were held in Paris, in France. The ninth Olympiad is from 1928 to 1931. And the Olympic Games were held in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. Then the 10th Olympiad was between 1932 and 1935. And the Olympic Games were held in Los Angeles, California, in the United States of America. The 11th Olympiad was from 1936 to 1939, and the Olympic Games were held in Berlin, Germany. The 12th Olympiad was between 1940 and 1943, and the Olympic Games were not held in Tokyo, in Japan, and neither in Helsinki, in Finland. Then next Olympiad, which is the 13th, is between 1944 and 1947. And again, the Olympic Games were not held in London, in Great Britain. Then the 14th Olympiad starts in 1948, ends in 1951. Then the Olympic Games were held in London, in Great Britain. Then the 15th Olympiad, which is between 1952 and 1955. Then the Olympic Games were held in Helsinki, in Finland. Now, the 16th Olympiad is from 1956 till 1959. And the Olympic Games were held in Melbourne, in Australia. The 17th Olympiad is between 1960 to 1963. And the Olympic Games were held in Rome, in Italy. The 18th Olympiad is from 1964 and 1967. That was, okay, the Olympic Games were held in Tokyo, Japan. Then the 19th Olympiad was from 1968 till 1971. And the Olympic Games were held in Mexico City, in Mexico. The 20th Olympiad begins in 1972 and ends in 1975. The Olympic Games were held in Munich, in West Germany at that time. Now, you realize that I'm only talking about the Summer Olympic Games, all right? The Winter Olympic Games were not included in this kind of a list. So please understand. I'm sorry about interrupting. Okay, let's continue. Now, the 21st Olympiad is between 1976 and 1973. The Olympic Games were held in Montreal, in Canada. Then 22nd Olympiad was between 1980 and 1983. And the Olympic Games were held in Moscow in Soviet Union at the time. Then the 24th, no, I left out. 23rd, I'm sorry, Olympiad was between 1984 and 1987. And the Olympic Games were held in Los Angeles, California, in the United States of America. The 24th Olympiad was between 1988 and 1991. The Olympic Games were held in Seoul, in South Korea. The 25th Olympiad was between 1992 and 1995. The Olympic Games were held in Barcelona, in Spain. The 26th Olympiad was between 1996 and 1999. And the Olympic Games were held in Atlanta, in the United States. Atlanta, Georgia, a state in the United States of America. The 27th Olympiad was between 2000 and 2003. And the Olympic Games were held in Sydney, in Australia. The 28th Olympiad begins in the year 2004 and ends in year 2007. And the Olympic Games were held in Athens, in Greece. The 29th Olympiad is between 2008 and 2011, and the Olympic Games were held in Beijing, in China. The 30th Olympiad is between 2012 and 2015, and the Olympic Games were held in London, in the Great Britain. Then the 31st Olympiad begins in the year 2016 and ends in year 2019. The Olympic Games were held in Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil. Then the 32nd Olympiad was between year 2020 and the year 2023. And the Olympic Games were held in Tokyo, in Japan. The 33rd Olympiad is between 2024 and 2027. And the Olympic Games were held in Paris, in France. The 34th Olympiad begins in 2028 and ends in 2031. Then the Olympic Games is going to be held in Los Angeles, in California, in the United States of America. Then the 35th Olympiad begins in 2032 and ends in 2035. And the Olympic Games are going to be held in Brisbane, in Australia. So those last two cities are gonna be our future. Well, that's all about it for today. And thank you. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Aloha.